Voices with Blake.
Listen and watch
Voices with Blake.
on Dan Blake TV on YouTube.
You see, like, so you're presenting all these different platform interviews and stuff like that. When it comes to the whole presenting thing, do you feel, there's so many different approaches to the style, of presenting and stuff like that. So what do you feel like what kind of style did you model yourself on, kind of growing up? Just to check obviously was Westwood. Was there any other people that kind of inspired your style along the way?
It was very much like Westwood. It was Alan Partridge.
Okay.
It was like not David Brent-esque, but like using a lot of quite quick fire humor.
Yeah.
And that also is from I'm not saying like I'm a funny guy, but what I mean is like being from Glasgow or Liverpool or any of these cities where it seems to have like two football clubs and there's like a working class history, and there's people that work by the docks of the Clyde side. There is very much like no offense to Londoners, right? But I'll say you guys are okay, but a lot of jokes go over Londoners' heads. So like people in the north, like I think just from that, so I infiltrated a bit of style from being Glaswegian, very quick, very boom boom boom, and then also like taking a bit of Westwood. I think I was always like, there's this guy called Simon Amstill, and he used to do T4.
Okay.
I think I used to be quite inspired by him. I'm always inspired by people that are a bit off the cuff, a bit weird, but you also look at them and you think you're very smart. And I'm not saying I'm smart, but what I think, if you're able to think on your feet, I think it can go a long way. So that was my style. So it wasn't really something that.
Love that.
Yeah, it was very, very much like just a bit
off the cuff,
comedian, journalist, not really journalistic, but listening a lot intently and then maybe picking up on something and trying to make a moment of it. But red carpets is where I thrive most because it's high pressure, and I always think to myself, what am I going to say? And it's not till the actual person comes up on the red carpet, boom. So
let's go it.
Yeah, so,
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I was thinking of? Like, I feel like, he was dope at like the off the cuff kind of energy, and he's at radio. Oh, I got his name, Matt Edmondson.
Oh yeah, see, Matt Edmondson's a guy I'm inspired by as well. So
honourable shout out.
Yeah,
We got Matt Edmonds, and see I thought that energy is in you a bit.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you.
It's Matt Edmondson, Simon Amstill, Tim Westwood, and it's like in terms of like speaking about music knowledge, like Mr. Jam, Semtex. Manny Naughty and things like that, but that was when I was doing more of the music stuff. But that's where I'm kind of inspired by.
And is it ever time you see when you kind of off the cuff and you're firing back, you're waiting for something to respond to, you're quick with the mic, quick with the exchanges? Has there ever been a moment where you're like, where a guest has come and you just had a brain freeze?
Thankfully, never. And I don't know how, because there's, especially when I used to drink alcohol, there was days when I'd turn up and I'd be like, I'm not feeling good. And it was a mixture of anxiety, just a mixture of being hungover, and I still managed to deliver something. But now that I don't really drink at all, I'm on much better form. And I used to go to press days, and I used to be quite like nervous, but I would just carry it through. But generally, I've always been fine. I've always managed to be, because either I've over prepared. I'm not saying like, if I went to do a film junket, which I don't really do, but if I did, I would over prepare because film's not necessarily my forte. Or even if I was doing music, I'm a bit more comfortable. So I've never. The only person that's ever blanked me, but it was actually really funny, was Vin Diesel, and that was my big. That was in the year of 2017. Or was it? No, start of 2018. And it was the Triple X2, I think it was, premiere, and it was the first big premiere I'd ever done. I could see him on his Facebook Live, because that was when streaming live streams were really taking off, and he was coming closer to us. And I was bundled in with like about 7 or 8 journalists, and we basically had one shot to get a question in, and he was going past. And I thought, this is it. And I thought, what am I going to ask him? I mean, I don't really watch Triple X movies. I've not really watched much Vin Diesel stuff. And I just said, I looked on Wikipedia and goes, who would win out of a fight between you, The Rock, and Jason Statham? Because at the time, there was a bit of beef between Dwayne.
I remember a little beef.
And actually, I noticed this Facebook Live, and Mark Zuckerberg was watching as well. And I went, big up Scotland. And I said something else. I don't know. I watched it back, and I was on his feed. And then after I asked him that question, he like kind of pulled a funny face, and he walked away, and I goes, don't leave me hanging. And that was the kind of first moment I had where I was able to kind of do kind of make a joke out of something, make a bit of a vibe. It was a viral moment.
Viral moment, yeah.
So yeah, luckily no one's ever blanked. Well, he was the only person that's blanked me, but it was part of the
part of the band,
part of the sketch. You could say.
Yeah. And yeah, I've not, as I said, and as you've developed your presenting, I've noticed, the comedic style's been coming on more stronger.
Yeah.
You took to the generational shift where social media's come into play.
Yeah.
Congratulations on your 10,000.
Oh, thank you.
Followers
On TikTok, yeah.
Congratulations.
By the way, GULLY talks on TikTok. We'll talk about that anyway.
Yeah. So it's like I've seen the transition with your presenting style, and you're what's the word? You're manifesting what you want. Really.
Yeah.
And I feel like social media's helping that. And you got people like Munya Chihuahua.
This is I was about to shout out
as well.
I was about to shout out Munya, shout out Mo Gilligan. I've got a couple other people like Paul Black, who's like a Scottish comedian. Anyone that was doing, I mean, I was actually not, but I was able to kind of channel a bit more of my comedy stuff over when we went into the first lockdown, because I saw like people doing it, and then I attempted a nightclub sketch, which was a post-match interview style, where I had left the nightclub and I was given an interview like a football manager, and it done numbers. And then I think that was the first point. I was like, I've watched so many football interviews and I've always liked it. And anyway, I carried on a bit more with the sketch stuff, but I've not really followed that up. But then obviously now what I'm doing is pretty much like sports, football stuff.
Yeah. So how have you found like that journey into the whole social media world, and with the consistency with the content? Because I know it's quite, once you start getting popping, it's like you got to keep the ball rolling constantly. It's like a train that keeps going. So if you fall off, then it's like, all right, on to the next one.
This is it. I think that I'm quite a self-conscious person. Like, even though that the camera's on right now, quite self-conscious about how I'm appearing.
Okay.
So I think when I started making all that stuff, I was like, some stuff would hit, some stuff wouldn't, and some stuff was really good. Some stuff was better than the stuff that did hit. So I think I'd made the sketch stuff, and then I was just getting really inconsistent with it, and I wasn't having really a good time in London, and I wasn't having a good home situation in London. So I think it was really draining a lot of energy, and I had some health stuff going on. But I think when I moved back to Glasgow, I thought to myself, I'm going to take all these skills that I've learned, and I'm going to start. I think I just thought to myself, I want to start at Glasgow Rangers. I want to see what I can conjure up. And then from there, I found I watched so many videos on TikTok on how to do TikTok, how to get numbers and algorithms and whatnot. So I started it, and I predominantly started my TikTok as like me doing voiceovers at Channel 4. And I thought, like, because some people had already covered that. There's a girl, I think her name's Jordan, big up. I think that's her name, but she does all the ITV2 stuff. Yeah. So I thought I'll cash in and maybe be in the Channel 4 guy, but numbers were low. And then I was very inconsistent with TikTok, and then the Euros happened. Forgive me if I'm going too far ahead. No, cool. So yeah, obviously the rearranged Euros happened, and I decided to take a punt, and I thought, right, I'm going to go to Leicester Square, and Scotland are playing England, and I know the Scotland fans know how to party, but I didn't really know what kind of crowd. Would it be young? Would it be old or whatever? So I went, I took my mate along with me, took my mic. I bought this microphone in Spain 4 or 5 years ago for a festival. Yeah. Didn't know how to actually get any interviews at a festival, so I hadn't used the microphone since then. So and I took the microphone, told my mate just to film me and do it vertical. Anyway, went there, interviewing tons of people, came across this guy called Abdul. Vice have covered like a little mini documentary. He's quite controversial. He's like a Pakistani guy that is, sings a lot of controversial songs, sectarian songs. He's a Rangers fan as well. Not sure actually where his head is at, like if he's, suffers from some condition or disability. Anyway, I interviewed him strictly neutral, because he's a Rangers fan. I'm a Rangers fan, but I interviewed him. I knew he had a bit of notoriety about him, but never really knew how much. Posted that video, and it just went wild. Wow. And then from there, that was when the journey consistency began. I learned how to use the green screen, learned how to make short form content, how to make a start, middle, and end. And by the way, I've only just hit 10,000 followers, so I'm not saying that I'm some 100,000 marketing genius, but
10,000 is a solid number, though.
Yeah, it gets you in a certain field. But
you end up getting, I don't know, like YouTube. I swear, when you get 10,000 subscribers, you get the fancy. You get to go hit the studios and that.
Yeah, TikTok give you a creator fund, and you can also link up with brands.
Okay.
So they give you certain access. But anyway, yes. So since then, I've just learned how to use the tools. I've stopped watching the videos because all I took from the videos was you can. What I would say as well, again, I know people are on 50, 100, 200,000. They're killing it. I'm very much at the start of it, but TikTok is the platform that I've had the most success in.
Oh wow!
Because I've stuck to one niche, Scottish football. I only recently had a viral video like 2 days ago.
Oh wow!
And that pushed me over into 10,000. But I think once you get a viral video moment, you just have to keep, that's when you have to blast it, because you don't know when you're going to get another one. And also what I've learned is, and this is part of news as well, especially when the lockdown happened and we're all stuck in this pandemic, you find a topic that is divisive. And I don't mean it, it's how people sell news stories.
Yeah.
Kim Kardashian, Kanye West, Russia, Ukraine, BLM, whatever it may be, there's people on both sides of the fence. Yeah. And I feel like that's what I've tried to kind of investigate a little bit, but I've also tried to stay neutral as well, because I can go into, if we had more time, I'd tell you about how complicated Glasgow is with religion. So that's not for me to even step into, but that's another discussion in itself.
So stepping into the whole Rangers football energy.
Yeah,
you had a chance to I don't know, get with the team, see what's happening with the squad. Link up with the Rangers footballers.
Well, listen. This I don't want to say too much, but obviously I've got aspirations, and I'm literally taking all that experience I've got from being in London for 10 years, and now I'm using my contacts from down south, and I'm merging it up with there and whatnot. So trying to work it as a bit of a strategy. I don't want to say too much on it right now, because I've not made contact with anyone directly, but naturally. I know someone down here that works for Arsenal. I know a girl that works for Tottenham. Yeah, of course, it'd be the dream. It'd be the dream.
It only makes sense that you're involved in Rangers, at the highest level.
Yeah, so
presenting stuff with them or this kind of thing.
Yeah, I could do it. I've shown that I can make the type of I've got ideas for content and whatnot. But listen, we'll see. There's opportunities there to work for many people, and I'm sure if I speak to the right people, I'll make it happen. But just a case of continuing with what I'm doing right now. But certainly there's goals, there's aspirations. I'd like to be going to a big tournament. If I don't know where we're at come December, but if Qatar was there, I'd happily go to do the World Cup.
Are you finding the balance between, obviously production you started in, presenting, that's just two of your hats, and switching it up, getting into more content, which requires a lot of energy as well, you know what I mean? And your personality, how you mentioned before having anxiety about things, and that's relating to mental health and stuff. How are you finding balance in life and advice to people that's trying to balance all of these kind of careers?
Yeah, it's listen, it doesn't necessarily just align to people in the creative industries, but anyone can suffer for mental health. But I think with mental health issues, but I think with the creative industries, it's just you're juggling balls, man. You're just juggling balls constantly and spinning plates, and you're at
it's a risky business. And there's a lot of rejection as well. It's
a risky business. I think I've just felt the most confident I've felt in my whole career. But I've actually I've stepped away from doing a lot of DJing. I stepped away from the music stuff as well. I wasn't really enjoying the music interviews that I was doing. So I think now what it is, if I'm harbouring and I'm gonna throw my efforts towards one thing, I think mental health calms down a little bit, because at one point I was just like, I need to do this, I need to go to red carpet, I need to do this interview, and actually you're spreading yourself so thinly that you can't. Is it impossible to win? Yeah, I think.
Yeah, when you got your foot in every. True, I hear you.
Yeah, I think it's like what one person said to me, and I suppose I'm tooting my horn a little bit, but he just said, "Look," he goes, if you are one of these types of people that is good at so many different types of things, it's great in a sense, but it's also you have to then just put your chips into one corner and play a hand, you know. So this is
master of none, innit?
yeah. You're a jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah, this is it. Like that can tend to happen if you're not careful. You know what I mean?
This is what I've learned from London, and because people kept asking me when I was going for. I've done pilots for like radio stations, national radio stations, and whatnot, and people would ask me, "What's your niche? What do you do? What's special about you?" And I thought,
why would you? Especially radio. There was so what makes you think you can replace that?
Yeah, and there'd always be these big damning questions, and I'd be like, right, understand that, you know, they have to ask because ultimately they're a brand and they need to co-align with people that are also brands.
Yeah.
And it was only when I moved back to Glasgow, all hit home. And also, I've had a bit of mentoring recently from someone who's really big. I'll mention him another time, but he's really helped me to understand the fact that I don't care if it's fishing, if it's collecting women's fishnet stockings. I don't care what it is. If you have an interest and you can talk about it, you will do something. I don't care what you can be you can be working in a farm in Estonia, milking cows, or working in a crop field, I don't know, in India or whatever, but if you can talk about something consistently, you will garner interest.
And you know how to, and people can really tell that you understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, and listen, I'm not going to sit here and say that I know everything. I know the ins and outs of Scottish football. I don't. But can you tell me that anyone on TV right now who covers boxing or Saturday Night TV knows about their industry? They don't. But it's been able to address the audience to an extent that you do. And again, I want to build my knowledge more, because when I was living in London, I was just absorbed with the Premier League. But actually, I'll be honest, the Scottish League is more exciting than the Premier League, because you know, Man City and Liverpool, fine, that's a bit of a two-horse race, and Liverpool are coming back into it. I see a Liverpool top there. But the Premier League is great, but what it is, I feel it's been, you know, it's by money. It's like we're looking at a very American product, and you know, I cannot hear Man U in the top four discussion anymore. Paul Pogba, Cristiano Ronaldo. It's great, but anyway, what I was getting at was, I need to get the knowledge up for sure, but the audience is staying loyal to me, and I've got to big up everyone who follows the TikTok page.
Gully Talks on TikTok.
Yeah, Gully Talks on TikTok, because they are loyal and they will invest in the comments, and that
must feel special. Sorry to cut you. That must feel special when people are in the comments actually actively getting involved in the conversation.
Yeah,
well, that's when it gets to the next level, man. Engagements there as well.
Yeah, I think again, it's all the stuff that me and you have learned, and I think as a consumer of social media or a person that works with companies that deliver social media, I see big brands that have so much money that don't know how to ask the right question. And I'm not saying I do all the time, but there is, I think, start, middle, and end. I think I've kind of figured
middle and end.
I figured out how to pose that. You got to hook someone in, you got to keep them watching, and then you got to pose the question or the finale. Yeah. What is it that I want out of you? And
interesting.
Yeah.
Gem talk, people. Gem talk.
And listen, this information's all out there. This is not something that I've just carved out of thin air. This is all stuff that people, you know, I've watched people's stuff, and I'm like, well,
that's still gem talk. It's coming from your perspective. So I hear you, because it's like that 3-pointer win. You know what I mean? And shout out to so many. I feel you. I've even in my career, I've had advice from certain legends in the game, and they've said, you know, there's sometimes even when you're doing an interview, breaking it down into 3 crucial points that can bring it home real quickly for someone who's got 10 minutes to watch an interview.
Exactly.
You don't have to overthink it.
No, you don't have to overthink it.
3 things that you can go in that can start, middle, and close it. You know what I mean?
I think it's amazing we're able to have a conversation like this online, but also I think that we can take little nuggets from this and post it on our different platforms. Short form content, I think, is amazing, but also it alludes to the fact that people have short attention spans.
Yeah.
So now it's like trying to create the story, but trying to create it in such a small dose that you want people to ask for more. People are wanting more. So it's you're kind of you're diluting the story a little bit, but also you're still giving people a snapshot. Like the video that went viral on my TikTok recently, I just went up to a West Ham fan. I thought he was an Aston Villa fan because I was there to ask Aston Villa fans what they thought about Steven Gerrard. And he obviously Aston Villa and West Ham share the same colours. He's an older gentleman, must be in his early 60s. And I went up to him and I just started asking him, well, Steven Gerrard, and he starts talking, and then I was like, oh, sorry, sir, I just realised that you're a Villa fan, West Ham fan. He goes, no, I'm perfectly happy to talk. And then I was like, oh, well, since we're talking, Rangers West Ham Europa League final, and then he talked about that, and then I says, but he says Rangers are my favourite Scottish team, and I says, why are Rangers your favourite Scottish team as opposed to Celtic? Because obviously predominantly I speak about Rangers and Celtic, and then he said that he something about his Scottish counterparts, he has respect, and it's a good friendship, but he also said that he is a good English boy, he's a good British boy, and he was talking about Rangers links with the nationalism, the Queen, the Union Jack, Britain, and Celtic, who have more alliances towards Republic of Ireland. Yeah. And that video went mental. It's just people keep sending it to me.
Wow.
I put it out on Saturday.
Yeah. That's when you know
so sometimes it's just luck.
Luck of the draw.
Because for me, also, I'm a Rangers fan, but also I want to speak to Celtic fans. I want to speak to Aberdeen fans, Hearts fans, but I know I don't want to get involved in that religious aspect of it,
politics of it,
or the nationalism, or because it's it's the world that I am not versed to speak in, and it's I'd rather avoid it. But I posted it because I knew it would garner interest, and it's 150,000 on TikTok, and so anyway, I'm kind of rambling, but
salute you, bro. Salute you all day.
Sometimes you just stumble on content, and you have to make the most of it, and you have to find a moment in that.
Magic moment right there. So I feel like you're a triple threat. So when we go into your whole voiceover career, this is a thing that you become a master of the trade at. Extraordinaire on the TV, big Channel 4. Been doing so many bits before. Like, tell us how you got into the whole voiceover industry for people that's wanting to know about that side of the game and Gully's expertise and skills. The voiceover is also master of the VO, the voice, very powerful thing that can be used to market so many things and companies and global brands all around the world just from using your vocal cords.
Well, firstly, I got to big up yourself, Dan, because you're a master of that craft, and I've heard you on my TV doing music ads and obviously BBC One and whatnot. So we are, we kind of share that admiration for the trade. But yeah, it was just a case of when it was my ex that got me into it. But big up my ex. It was. She was just like, listen, you've got a great voice, you need to start utilising it. And this was that period where I was only in production. I was making very minimal money. I was producing radio shows, wasn't really the presenting obviously was doing for free. 2015, start of 2015 it was, and she said, there's a workshop, there's a charity, can't remember the name, I need to figure who they are, because they sent me on my way. And they had a workshop on voiceovers, and they were talking about all the different areas in voiceovers and what areas you can kind of navigate. And and I went along to this workshop. I think I sent an application. You had to write a little paragraph on why you want to come to the workshop. Got on the workshop, heard about continuity, and then started Googling it. Continuity, for anyone that doesn't know, is what me and Dan do. We talk on the TV. We introduce programs. Dan introduces EastEnders. I introduce Gogglebox. So drama on both ends.
Trust me.
And then so I started kind of looking into it, and I think I just
before so pause you there. So you see when you was like when you was a kid, like, do you think like how I felt? Because it was like when I used to watch the TV, I used to think, no way are their voices in between programs speaking. Like, who are these people? How do they get in there? How do they get in the box? I can't see them. Where are they? I used to think voiceover was the weirdest world, because like I used to think their voices in the TV. I used to think they're like some different superheroes,
Yeah, I think voiceover artists of any kind are superheroes, because I don't care if it's like someone doing a voiceover for radio, for TV, for Spotify, or doing a voiceover on an airplane, or basically anything, because I began in audio and that's my first love. So anything transmitting through the airwaves is beautiful. But I just got to say that it was only till I moved to London where people told me I had a good voice.
Yeah, okay.
And that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be any good. But in Glasgow, I was just another Glaswegian. It was, you know what, when I was working in the call centres, that was, even though I didn't enjoy the jobs, that anyone will tell you, Glasgow is the hub of call centres. You've definitely worked in a call centre in Glasgow. But it was when I spoke to the English customers. I used to work for John Lewis, excuse me, and the English customers were like, "Oh, you got such a beautiful voice," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I want to come and live in London." Then when I came to London, people were just all over it.
Listen and watch
Voices with Blake
on Dan Blake TV on YouTube.